Where I come from, many stories are told about the famous 19th century bank robber Jesse James and his gang. One time they put up at a remote farmhouse owned by an impoverished widow. The poor woman did the best she could to feed them, but she had only very meager food to serve. She apologized for her lack of hospitality and explained that she was much in debt. In fact, that very evening, the debt collector would be coming around to demand $1,400, which she had no way of paying. Jesse James felt sorry for the lady. So since the gang still had the spoils of their latest bank robbery with them, he gave her enough money to pay off her debt. Then the gang went off and waited on the road. Sure enough, they spotted a grim-looking debt collector coming to the house. When he came out of the house a few minutes later, he had a smile on his face. The debt had been paid. The gang waited till he got back on the road, ambushed him, took the money back, and sent him along his way. So Jesse James got his money back. The woman paid her debt, and it was just the poor debt collector who was out of his money. Most of us know what debts are like. In today's society, many people live from credit card bill to credit card bill and never really get out of debt. Those who have mortgages to pay know how frightening debts can be. Debts are a fact of life. Jesus talks about debts. In one of his wittiest moments, he picks up a coin and asks whose head we see. If it is Caesar's, render to Caesar what is his, but give to God what is God's. Now the people had been expecting a political Messiah, someone to take over the politics of the day, restore order, and give them their freedom. That is exactly what Jesus refused to do. His kingdom was not of this world. He did not come as a political savior, but as a spiritual one. Would that the church had always followed his example in this. There is no problem in understanding what it means to give to Caesar. Every April 15th, we are reminded of that. It's the second part that is more problematic. Giving to God what is God's. Caesar's image was there on the coin. It was his. But where do we find God's image? What is it that belongs to God? You do, and I do. God's image is imprinted as on a coin, on our lives, on our souls. We belong to God, and it is ourselves that we must give to God. The people into which Jesus was born always gave God the first fruits. The farmers gave to God the first and best fruits of their land. The shepherds gave the first and best lambs. Everyone gave to God the first and the best. How far we have come from that. What is the first and the best in your life? You were made in God's image. Keep that image shining so all may see it and recognize it. God has blessed you with gifts and talents, blessed you with characteristics that people sitting next to you do not have. Be the unique individual you were meant to be, and be that to the very best of your ability. Then you are giving to God what is God's. Love yourself as God has made you. It doesn't matter if you're intellectually inclined or more manually inclined, if you are athletically inclined or musically inclined, if you are artistically inclined or if you are just really handy with a hammer and saw. It doesn't matter if you are male or female, gay or straight, old or young, pretty or plain, whether you are smart and efficient or the kind of person who just enjoys life. God has made you to reflect the divine image in a special and unique way. And you are giving to God what is God's when you allow yourself to develop your gifts to the glory of God. And that, my friends, is giving to God what is God's. And at the end of our life, a life of showing off that image and reflection of God, we will be called home. And at that time we will fully render to God what is God's. We will place in the loving hands of God our very lives, imprinted as on a coin with the image and likeness of God. We will give back to God what truly has always been God's. Give to God what is God's. Give to God no less than your very self.